Hey friends, on this time on TECHlicious, we are going to bring you 10 tips on how to draw on Procreate. So let's jump right in. The first tip I have for you is about the canvas size. So, why should you take this into account? Well, the canvas size will ultimately impact on the size of the file. So it is important that you choose a canvas size that will allow you to maintain the quality, but also that doesn't make a file too big. Because the bigger the file, the smaller is the number of layers that you can have on that canvas. And also, big files are really hard to export, to share, and to upload to other platforms. So, how do you alter the canvas size? Well, to do that, you just have to click on this little cross right here, and after that you just click on this black button thing here, and there you have it. This is how you alter the size of the canvas. So here's the width of the canvas and here is the height. So then if you click on create canvas, like right here, so there you have it. You have just created a new canvas to use. So my second tip for you is about making invisible backgrounds. So imagine that you want to do a logo or an icon or some phrases for your video, some animations. Well, you need to have no background on that image. And the way you do that is you can click right here on this button that signals the layers, and then hit this checkbox, and there you have it. You have an image without a background. And now you can paint on it, just use a normal brush, and there you go. You just have to export this as a PNG and your image will have no background. So the third tip I have for you is kind of cheating. It's not so much as a tip on how to draw, but a personal tip on how to draw something that you don't know how to draw. One thing you can do is you can download an image of whatever it is you want to draw, and then you can put it into the canvas that you're working on. So you just need to hit this little tool here, then hit insert a photo, and you just pick the photo that you wanted, and then you just can make it bigger or smaller depending on how it goes, and then you just can go to the layers and turn its opacity down, and that's what you get. So you just can make a new layer on top of it, just make sure it's on top of it so that whatever you're going to draw now appears, and then you can just draw on top of the layer that you inserted. So imagine that I didn't know how to draw this cactus, this is what I would do. Then once you're happy with it, you can just eliminate the image that you inserted, and you will have only the cactus that you have drawn. So my fourth tip to you is about the brushes and the erasers. So I just want to tell you that there's lots of brushes here with very different effects, and there's literally no limit what you can do with them. So just take your time and try to see what each one of them does, and then you'll find a couple of them that will adjust right to who you are and that will do whatever you want them to do. So don't worry too much about it, just practice, train, try to figure out what they do, and then you'll find some brush that will be right for you. The same thing with the rubbers. So try to figure out like what each one does. It's the same, they do the same as the brushes, but they just remove things, so the pixels that you've drawn in that layer. So try to be careful, and try to be careful with the size, because imagine that you're drawing a really small thing and then you have your rubber in the biggest size. You can just accidentally erase all of it, so be careful with that. So my next tip to you would be about drawing in separate layers. So imagine that you have drawn this weird looking face, like this, and that now you wanted to color it. So you should just create a new layer and then select it and pop it just under the first layer that you've sketched in, and now you can color it. So you just pick a different color and then you just go around and color it. Just like that. What we have done does, it's just it will put the layer that you're working on right now under the first layer that you have made, so under the sketch. And now, well, now imagine that you want to do the eyes, so you can just make a new layer, just like this, then pop it under the sketch, the original sketch, and then you just pick a white, and you can go closer. Let me just make this a little bit smaller. And as you see, I'm just coloring the eyes, and I'm still under the first sketch that we've made. And what this allows you to do is, now imagine that I don't like the skin how it is, and that I want to clear it, and I don't want to ruin the eyes, or imagine that I've painted the eyes in a different color, and I don't want to ruin the sketch or the eyes, so all I have to do is I press this layer, which is where the face is, then I press the rubber, and then I can just erase the whole of it, and the sketch will continue the same. The next tip I have for you is about drawing with a color that you've already drawn with, but that it's already not here. So this stores the colors that you've drawn with, but after a while, well, they just disappear because there's not enough space for all of them. So imagine that now I start to draw with this greenish color. Oh, too big. Sorry. So this is better. So imagine that I start doing like this kind of weird hair. And then imagine that I want to use this green just to keep at it. Just like make this weird looking thing. Exactly. And now imagine that I draw with this blue, just something over here, and then just let me try and get as many colors as I can so that this will start to disappear. Then I draw this here, then I pick this yellow tone and do this. And now as you can see, imagine that I want this black that I've used, but it's not here anymore. So the way I get it back is, well, you just take your finger. It needs to be your finger, it cannot be the pen, and then you just click on it, and then as you can see that little circle appears, and when you release it, then the black has became your default color. So that's how you select a color that you've drawn with. You can do this for every color here. So imagine that this pink was no longer here and that I wanted to draw with it. I just needed to press it there, and now as you can see over here, that's the color that I've drawn with. So the same goes for the green. Now I'm using green, you can see that it changed here and here, and the same, see, sorry, I entered the green, so the same for this yellow tone there, or the blue, or the pink, or every other color, even the background color works. So that's how you select a color that you have drawn with and that that's no longer in your historic of colors. So I'm going to do the 7th and the 8th tip together because they're very similar. So the 7th tip is on how to select part of a layer or an entire layer, and the 8th tip is on how to resize that layer. So what you can do is, for example, imagine that I want to make a new hair, or imagine that I want to select just the hair. I can do this and it's selected. It's the whole layer, because if you see here, the whole layer is the hair, and when I select it, I've selected the whole hair. So now I can move it right here or wherever I want it. If I wanted to do that with the face, I could do it. So that's how you select an entire layer and move it or resize it, just anything you want. Then you can redefine it and it goes back to where it was. How you select part of a layer, well, that is different but not very hard. So what you can do is you can click right here on this little stringy, and then you just need to select. Imagine that I just want these two curls here. So I've selected those curls, and now if I want to move them, I can go there and there it is. I'm just moving those two curls that I've selected based on my stringy selection. So that's how you do it. That's how you select part of a layer or an entire layer, and how you resize that selection. Tip number 9 would be on how to change the color of an entire layer at the same time. Imagine that I didn't like how the hair looks, I didn't like the green, and I wanted to make a new color on that hair. So what I would do is I would select the layer where the hair is, which is this one, then go on to alpha block and press that, and what that does is it just blocks everything, and the only thing that you can alter is the hair. So now you just need to choose the color that you want, for example this orange color, and then you just go on to the layer, press that, and you just click on fill layer and the color will be changed. So the last tip I have for you is on how to export the file. Imagine that I like the image and that I want to send it to my computer or to my phone. So what I will do is I go to the gallery, then I go on to select, I select image, then I go on to share, and then you have to choose the type of the file. So as you know, PNG is for the invisible background, as we have already talked about it here. Perhaps you already knew it, that's perfectly okay as well. I will go on a JPEG, and now as you can see, you can just send it wherever you want it. So you can send it to the email, you can send it to Pinterest, Instagram, Messenger, wherever you want it, and you can also save it as an image, and then it will be on your iCloud, and you can download it to your Mac or to your iPhone, and that's it.